Hey, how's it going? It's Mr.O here to teach you about the vocabulary words you need to know for today. And I'm sorry if you hear noises in the background. That is my daughter being my daughter. Anyways, let's get into it. So the first vocabulary word you need to know is immune. Immune means having a natural resistance to a disease. Yippee! Now, the reason I have this photo up here because this is your immune system fighting against some sort of disease. So that's kind of cool. Now, the next vocabulary word you need to know is Middle Passage. Middle Passage is a voyage across the Atlantic that enslaved Africans were forced to endure. Now, this photo over here kind of shows you physically speaking what it looked like on the passage, or like rather the ship of the for African slaves, right? So at the very top are some African slaves. There's also some ship owners, probably some crew members, and in the bottom, or in the middle, right? The middle is where many of the slaves would. Excuse me, I'm trying to do something for my students. Rude. So in the middle is in the middle is where many of the slaves will be kept together. There's no bathroom, there is little to no sunlight. People would die on the voyage, and at the very bottom is a bunch of cargo. Now I want to show you a small little clip, not a clip, I'll say just a small part of a video that explains more in detail what the Middle Passage is, because the definition does not do it justice.
Passage was the middle leg of a voyage that starts in Europe. The first passage is from Europe to Africa. The Middle Passage is the journey from Africa to America, and then the third passage is the journey back from America to Europe.
The Middle Passage could take anywhere from 2 to 3 months. Men and women were separated. Men typically were held in the lower belly of the ship. The roof, if you would, was quite low, probably about 4 feet high. So people couldn't stand. African men were shackled together, and they were packed so closely together in a spoon-like position. And they would stay like that for pretty much the entire journey.
You're talking about hundreds of people. You're at 120 degrees. It smells terrible. There are actually people dying around you, which has to be a traumatic experience for everybody on board.
Maybe 10% of voyages, we know there was some attempt to rise up, to kill the crew, to try to turn the boat around, to change their destinies. Historians have a hard time.
All right, so that is that for the Middle Passage. So moving on to the last vocabulary word that we need to know for today is African diaspora. African diaspora is a scattering of African people due to slavery. Now, this map that you see over here is the map of sort of the African diaspora of the world, right? So as you see, the dark black is Africa. And then everywhere else that is green has some sort of African influence, meaning that there are people who either moved there or were forced to move there through slavery. Now, if you look at United States or Brazil, those are darker green, which means there are a lot more Africans, probably more so because of more African slaves being moved into the areas. If you look at places like Cuba, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Mexico, South America as a whole, all of them have lots of darker green areas compared to, for example, China or India, right? But anyways, so that's it for today. This is Mr.O. Have a good day. Bye.